Good morning and welcome to Beach Retreat. We are so excited that you guys are here. Each morning you're going to meet together as a condo. You're going to watch a movie, and throughout this movie you're going to find the story of four teenagers who find themselves in a very similar state of life that you're in. So let's go ahead and check out today's movie.
Out of the swamp rises a creature. He's half horse and half vampire. He's hungry and looking for fresh blood. And that's when...
Go to sleep.
Sorry, Dad. That was super scary.
Wasn't that scary?
Hey, I want to show you guys.
What's that?
Duh, it's a milk bottle.
Actually, it's a time capsule.
I don't get it.
A time capsule?
You put something in it, then you dig it up years later when you're old. We should put something in it. Like something we want to do before we grow up.
Before we grow up?
Yeah, something we want to do before we get really old.
How old?
I don't know, like high school?
That's really old.
We write down something we want to do. Then, in 8 years, we'll come back here together and dig it up to see if we've done it. Who's in?
I'm in.
I'm in.
Okay, I'm in.
Oh, how young and naive we were. Best friends forever? Nuh-uh. Because if there's one thing that divides people, that transforms once best friends into now casual acquaintances, or even mortal enemies, it's high school. Remember Tim? Said he wasn't afraid of my awesome vampire horse story? Well, now he likes to pretend like he's not afraid of anything. He became an all-American jock and an all-American jerk. Since his parents split up sometime in middle school, he's had a rough patch. He seemed to have a little too much angst. Oh, there's Margot. You know the saying, she never came out of her shell? Well, Margot established a permanent residence inside her shell, and she's the only tenant. And she never has any guests. Not even cats. Ah, Devin. Yeah, his dad became a congressman and pretty much was absent from then on out. So Devin threw himself into every single club, crew, or organization in the school. From science club, to debate club, to helicopter club, to salsa club, to the other salsa club. And then there's me. What am I up to? Well, I'm just the same awesome guy as I ever was. Always up to something. You see, they may have forgotten, but I didn't. Our time was up. Our 8 years had flown by, and we were all about to graduate. And the sad thing is we didn't stay friends. Not even a little bit. We drifted apart, but I knew one thing that could bring us all back together.
What are you guys doing here? What's all this about?
It's about this.
Reynolds? What are you doing?
Is that what I think it is?
No way. This thing's got an expiration date and needs to be opened.
Time capsule.
Oh, come on. This is crazy.
Once upon a time, we used to be best friends. Now we're about to graduate, move on, and probably never see each other again. We're each gonna take a turn and see what we wrote down. And if we haven't done it by now, I say we just go for it and do it. But together.
Look, the whole hanging out thing sounds great, but I got the playoffs to worry about. Go work out.
Yeah, and I'm overcommitted as it is, so sorry.
I should probably go too.
I did not want to have to do this. Hey! Margot, I know deep down that you really do want to do this. Stay put. And Devin, dude, you used to be up for anything. I promise you, this is gonna be fun. And Tim, I know you don't owe me anything, but can you please just do this for me?
I'm in.
I'm in.
All right, I'm in.
All right.
But how are we gonna do it?
We're each gonna take a turn. You go first.
It's nothing stupid, like I said.
Says he wants to fly like Superman.
That's impossible.
No, it's not. They had no idea what they were about to get into.
Growing up, I think we all had dreams for our life. What do we want to be when we grow up? What do we want to do? And needless to say, it probably looks a little bit different now that we find ourselves in the middle of our high school career. Your plans have probably not quite been exactly what you thought. Maybe you thought one thing when you were younger and they're completely different now, but there's one simple truth that I want you to remember, that God's plan for our life is always better. Our dreams for our life change along the way. And I'm reminded of a guy in the Old Testament, in the book of Genesis, a guy by the name of Joseph. He had some crazy dreams. He was a dreamer, but he was able to interpret those dreams, and he was able to interpret them accurately. Throughout Joseph's life, he experienced detours along the way, and these detours developed his character. There's 14 chapters in the book of Genesis that are devoted to telling Joseph's story. Joseph's detours in his life developed him into the person that God wanted him to be. He came from a very dysfunctional family, very messed up. He was favored by his dad, and he was given a coat just to symbolize his dad's favoritism toward him, how much he loved him. He was the favorite son. He told his brothers over and over and over again, which ultimately made him hate him. His brothers couldn't stand him. One night he had a dream, he had a vision from the Lord, and he went to his brothers and told them about the dream, and they hated him even more. His brothers decided they would come up with a plan. They wanted to kill him, but eventually one of the brothers decided, let's just throw him into a pit. So as Joseph was walking along the road, his brothers ganged up on him, stripped him of the coat that his dad had given, threw him in a pit, and came up with an idea to make a little bit of money off their brothers. They sold him into slavery. The chief of the guards, Potiphar, decided he was going to buy Joseph. So he bought Joseph. He was a slave. And he had incredible success while Joseph lived in Potiphar's palace, which eventually brought some attention by Potiphar's wife to Joseph, which made advances about him and caused her to lie about him. So Potiphar had no other choice other than to throw him into prison. He should have had him killed because accusations of adultery with an official's wife would have been punishable by death, but he threw him into prison. While Joseph was in prison, he was elevated eventually to be in charge of the entire prison and all the prisoners. While he was in prison, he interpreted the dreams of two different men, which brought him back to the palace again, and he was able to interpret the dream of Pharaoh per the cupbearer's request. Part of this dream was that Joseph was able to interpret there would be 7 years of plenty, food and surplus going on in the entire country, followed by 7 years of severe famine. Joseph is now the second most powerful man on the planet. He went from a slave to a prince. He's now 30 years old. It took some time. While he was in charge of the food, his brothers came to him and bowed down, fulfilling God's vision, God's dream that he had given to him 13 years earlier. So throughout Joseph's story, God is saving the nation of Israel, but more specifically the tribe of Judah, because from the tribe of Judah would come the Messiah. I think it's safe to say that what Joseph thought that his life would look like eventually was completely different than what it ended up looking like. He had detour after detour after detour along his journey, and the bottom line is this, that detours develop character. There was purpose in the pit. There was purpose in the palace. There was purpose in the prison, and there was purpose as the prince. Throughout all of the detours that we may find in our life, we can trust the heart of God and we can trust the hand of God. Throughout Joseph's story, we find that the 5 words that keep ringing over and over and over again is that the Lord was with Joseph. May those 5 words remind us to trust the heart and trust the hand of God.